Joined by Lee Anderson. Lee, how's your conference so far?
It's been great. We had a good start last night. I was out with my good friend Jim Davidson. We went to a whiskey tasting event. It got a little bit messy. He ought to know better at his age. He led me astray, and I woke up this morning with a bit of a thick head. But there's so many great people here today. Looking around, that fuzziness has soon cleared, and I'm looking forward to a great conference.
I have to ask you, there's a bit of breaking news on the TV behind you. Angela Rayner resigning. Your reaction to that?
Well, she had to go, didn't she? I don't think she had much choice. It's been on the front page every day for the best part of probably over a week now. I don't think she had any choice, but PMQ was on Wednesday. Keir Starmer was saying how proud he was of her, and then just a couple of days later she's actually resigning. So let's see if he's still proud of her. I don't know what's going on for the Labour Party.
The next step. What is the next step for reform?
Wales and Scotland next year. That's one of the next steps. This time last year we had 80,000 members. Now we've got nearly 250,000 members. We won hundreds of council seats, 700 council seats, I think it was, in May, 2 mayorals. You've got 4 members of Parliament. It's only going one way, but a real target, I think, next year is the Senate and Scotland. We need to make huge gains there. And I think we will. I think the mood of the country is with us. We're saying the right things. We're listening to people. Look at this conference, sold out, 6,000 people a day coming through these doors. So it's phenomenal.
And finally, big defection yesterday, Nadine Dorries. What does that mean for the party?
It means the Tory party's dead. She's been in the Tory party 30, 40 years, I think she's been in. I've just been speaking to Anne Widdicombe as well. She was in the Tory party for 55 years. It's nearly 100 years' worth of experience there, just gone at the blink of an eye. So it's a kick in the whatevers for the Tory party.
Right, joined by Liam Halligan. Liam, what's your take on Reform Conference? I know you just got here, but what's the mood like? What do you reckon?
Well, it's all pretty breathless. There's lots and lots of people here. It seems reasonably well organised. I've been to dozens and dozens of political conferences over the years as a reporter, as a journalist. I'm here doing the same again at Reform. And I must say, it's a good turnout. You cannot deny it's a good turnout. Not nearly as much in terms of media presence here as I expected. I have to say, I think quite a lot of the media's still in denial about what is happening in terms of reform. Good to see Guido here in force.
Absolutely. Did you get that on camera? Good. What do they have to do next, Reform, right? Because there's all this momentum, but there's still 4 years until the next election. A lot can go wrong in that time. So what have they got to focus on?
Well, what they have to show is that it's not all hype. It's not all none of the above. They need to convert this really striking poll lead. I certainly can't remember a period in my lifetime when one party has had more support in opinion polls than the next 2 parties combined, let alone a party that's a resurgent upstart, let alone with the 2 trailing parties being Labour and the Tories. We are deeply in uncharted territory cephalogically, but are we in uncharted territory when it comes to actual votes in ballot boxes? No one knows that. The next election could be in a few months if there is a fiscal crisis, as some of us have been warning there could be, or it could go, they could play it really long like they just have with the budget and go all the way to mid to late 2029. We'll see. What Reform have to do now above all is demonstrate competence and unity. And demonstrating competence and unity when there's so much hype, so much sudden scrutiny, which is what they're under, is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, funny. I chatted to Jacob Rees-Mogg in our studio the other day.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, you might have heard of him. And he said, of course he would say this is a Tory, so on and so on, but he said the Reform and the Tories should do a deal regardless of how far ahead they appear to be in the polls, because it gives them a stronger mandate, 45%, unite the right, so on and so on. Yeah. Do you buy into that? Do Reform need that?
Well, look, Jacob's a really sensible guy, and I genuinely think, obviously Jacob's a Conservative, but don't forget, he is very good friends with Nigel. Their GB News shows have aligned, been next to each other in the schedule for a long time. And I think someone like Jacob, he genuinely speaks as a sort of citizen rather than as a conservative politician first and foremost. What do I think? I think the way politics is a zero-sum game. I can only win if you lose. So I don't think the Tories and Reform are going to do a deal at all. You know, the earliest they could possibly do a deal is in the small hours of the morning after the election. People are going to want to see the scores on the doors, as Larry Grayson says. You're too young to remember Larry Grayson, but you do seem like a nice boy, if I may say so. You better keep that in.
Keep rolling,
because that is a really good line, which a lot of your older viewers and listeners will understand. They're going to want to see the scores on the doors, right? Having said that, if you look at this from a business perspective, let's say the bond market, which I happen to have been writing about a lot lately on my When the Facts Change Substack, keep that in too. Okay, the bond market is actually really alarmed that if the centre-right beat Labour and are split and Labour get in again, I think the fact that Tories and Reform not only haven't done a deal, but are actively saying, we will never do a deal, is actually costing the British state money in terms of our debt interest payments. I genuinely believe that, having talked to lots of bond traders. It's pretty much the only mainstream journalist who can have conversations with these guys, right, at a high level. The fact is, a scenario now in spreadsheets around the City of London, and more importantly, in Zurich, in Abu Dhabi, in Hong Kong, all the trading centres of the world, New York. A big fear is that the right will be so split that the left get in again with their increasingly mad economics, right? So it's all very well politicians saying we're not doing deals, blah, blah. And of course they're going to be like that because they're politicians. It's zero-sum game, right? But the fact that there are these political parlour games going on the right of British politics is now costing the British state and therefore British taxpayers money.
Charlotte, what's the mood on the ground? How do you feel here at Reform Conference?
I feel ecstatic. I'm absolutely blown away about how many more people there are here than last year.
What do you think to Nadine Dorries joining Reform UK?
I'll just be honest, I don't even know who she is. Nadine Dorries?
Yes.
She wrote that book basically saying how they ousted Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll just be honest, yeah. Boris Johnson is totally messed our country up because he set the bar way low on immigration. So whilst Boris comes across as very patriotic, very English, he's actually kind of fuck this and put it into sorry to excuse me.
So no, don't worry.
But he's propelled this monstrosity of impact that's happened to the UK, to England specifically. So he propelled that by setting the bar too low. So whilst I like how English Boris is and how frightly, but he I don't know. Nadine Dorries, okay, yeah, she's a nurse. She worked in NHS, Labour. Yeah, I'm happy. Maybe she doesn't kind of realise the whole thing that's going on, or maybe she's realised, actually, asylum seekers have been preferentially treated over our own people who are in worse situations, and that's not acceptable. And until the government can get a hold of that and sort it out, we shouldn't be accepting any more asylum seekers and anyone that comes across. The reason they come here and they pass through several safe countries is because we are a lot... we give them... they're staying in 3- and 4-star hotels. Where are the homeless staying in them? I mean, I went in Leeds the other day to go to a nightlight ceremony, right? It was in Leeds Museum. I walked past. There must have been about 60 homeless people, proper hobos, all congregating in a square. Well, why are they not being given a shelter and a hotel?
Well, I'm here to show my support to the party. I'm representing the branch chairman of North Cornwall. Just here to see all the fun, be part of the activity and hopefully be part of the next step.
What is the next step, Reece? What do you reckon?
I reckon we've got to signify plans, we've got to know what we're doing. We've got to come together, unify and show support for this party, because without this party, Britain is doomed. We need to recover what is left of this beautiful country that we have.
What did you make of Nigel Farage's speech earlier today, just in the main hall a couple of hours ago? Nadine Dorries coming out. What's your reaction to all that?
It's fantastic. It just proves Nadine Dorries was the Boris of Boris supporters, as it were. She was the zealot back then. For her to ditch the Conservatives, that's a major move. I see on the rota of events, as it were. We've got Jacob Rees-Mogg speaking tomorrow, so who knows? Jacob is a fantastic individual.
So you'd welcome him in if he...
I really welcome Jacob. Jacob would be the icing on the cake, as it were.
You're both young guys, right? So are young people changing their attitude to politics?
Young people are, today, the three of us arrived today, young people are coming to reform. Now, this morning we've already had a chat with the chap from Warwickshire Council, fantastic guy. Young people are lining up in masses now to join reform.
Why is that?
It's change, it's a faith in the system. Young people, we've all had it. Our parents voted Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem, and Corman's Lib Dem. And those three parties, one by one, have failed and failed again. Today we've seen Angela Rayner resign, a huge example of sleaze after Labour came to power on this promise of no more sleaze after the Tories' record. They've already broken out in the first year of office. It's time for something new.
I'm a borough councillor for Milton Regis. I got elected in December last December in a by-election, knocked out a Labour stronghold.
How are you finding it?
I'm really enjoying the job. I have got a really good people around me, really good councillors, support, a lot to learn, but I want to learn it.
Have you found any sort of resistance within the council to what you're trying to achieve?
All the time.
Yeah. So what's that like? What's been going on?
They will pick holes in absolutely anything. They will not ever give you benefit of the doubt. They will never ever see the side of your story. They will just label you as a far right extremist or whatever. I'm not far right extremist. I'm talking for the people on the ground. They didn't get elected in that by-election. They didn't get elected in the county elections. There's a reason for that. Everyone in the council is meant to represent the people, but currently the people there, they haven't got a clue. They absolutely haven't got a clue. We're not going to stop.
How did this happen so early in your career? How are you already a councillor?
Well, I'd like to say fate. I felt that's my mission. I need to save Britain. I need to help with this whole movement. Reform was going to do it. Back when Reform was polling 10%. Before that, right, UKIP, all that, when I was at primary school even, I was pushing, genuinely, I was pushing for that. I was the only one, I still was throughout school, but I genuinely believed in it, I mean it. And look, we were right. We are speaking for what people want. When I was eating dinner with my family, my mum and dad would talk about problems, and then obviously you see Nigel on the telly, you go, hang on, he's saying exactly what they're saying. And coming into the real world, I see it as well. I work at night in London. Our capital city, absolute disgrace. It is just fallen apart. That was the jewel of the empire, for God's sake. That was the hub of the world at one point. And now look at it. It's unrecognisable. It really is.